Well, we've now entered an election year, and while it remains to be seen when exactly the poll will take place, it's no secret some of the major issues will be, as we've just said, cost of living, as well, energy and certainly housing. There's already rumours of a new Mediscare campaign being launched against the coalition, while Labor will obviously come under fire for its broken promise to deliver a $275 reduction in power bills by this year. We're meant to have that. Joining me now to discuss all of this and how it might play out is One Nation Chief of Staff James Ashby. James, Happy New Year and thanks for joining me. 2025 is set to be a pretty important year for our country. Going to the polls at some point before May, what do you think the big issues of this campaign are likely to be?
Well, Happy New Year to you, James, and all your viewers. And here's to a change of government for 2025. Let's just put it that way. And if you're out there making New Year's resolutions, the best one, put Labor and the Greens last. That's an easy one that everyone can do later this year. Look, some of the biggest challenges that will be facing the coalition and other Conservative parties like One Nation will simply be building the trust in voters, because they have been severely let down over the last 3 years by this Labor government. They made a whole lot of promises before coming into power, and unfortunately none of those promises have stacked up. The biggest of those lies that Labor told was the fact they'd reduce power prices across the country by $275 each year. Well, we know that that is not the case. And we also know that new figures have come out in just last month, in fact, November it was, that suggests that Australians are on the hook for $642 billion to reach our renewable targets over the next 25 years. And that comes at a cost to every household of $2,500 a year. I don't know about you, but I cannot afford a $2,500 increase to my power prices every single year for the next 25 years. That's just the stark reality of a Labor and, unfortunately, the coalition have forced us into. Keeping in mind it was the coalition that signed us up to net zero. So governments, whoever it may be, they're in for a challenging time. Cost of living is going to be massive. It's the biggest driving issue on people's minds. Getting a house, securing the right interest rate when you go to the bank is another big issue that's playing on people's minds. And none of these things are going to ease up over the next few months between now and that next election.
Yeah, well, that old political adage, it's the economy, stupid, I think is certainly going to ring true over the next number of months. And there's a whole lot of other issues as well. I mean, social cohesion is a big thing, the mess that this government's made of our foreign policy and so on. But at the end of the day, people have got to be able to buy groceries. They've got to be able to fight immigration. But you've got to find somewhere to live. Those issues, I think, are really going to be the key ones that will decide the way people vote. I want to talk to you about a major native title battle underway in Queensland. The state government has confirmed it will continue to fight a claim by the Woopaburra people for exclusive use of Great Keppel Island. A number of our viewers have probably holidayed there over the years. Well, the Woopaburra traditional owners were already given exclusive use over parts of the island back in 2021, but they've now been given rights to the former resort and the airstrip area, which had been separate from the agreement because they were earmarked for redevelopment. Now, if negotiations between the Queensland government and the traditional owners break down, the whole thing's going to end up in court, which it seems to me like then Queensland has just paid twice. Not only is land that was once available to all being sectioned off for Indigenous groups, but then taxpayers have to pay legal fees as well. How concerned are you about this claim and the way that it might play out over the course of the next 12 months?
James, I raised this issue during the state election. That's how the public locally here found out. It's part of my hometown here. It's 19 kilometres off the coast here of Yeppoon, and Great Keppel Island makes up about 25% of the money that is brought in to our region here. So it's a significant part of our makeup, our fabric as a region, and certainly from a tourism point of view. I use it regularly. I got my jet ski and I head over there with friends and family on boats regularly. The issue here is that the native title on Great Keppel Island is at 14% as it sits. There's been a fresh native title claim here for a further 70%. that will take the total of 84% on Great Keppel Island. And the most concerning part is it's where as you've rightfully pointed out, we've got a great little runway there. It's a sealed runway for small aircraft. We've had the previous resort there as well, which has been shut down for some years now. But not only has native title been extinguished on this portion that they're trying to make a claim on for a second time, because let's not forget, the state government at the time when those leases were extended for 99 years to Tower Holdings determined at that point there was no native title. It's been through the federal courts a second time, where they determined only 14% of the island was deserving of giving native title to. Now, a fresh application for exclusive use. That is to the exclusion of everyone who's non-Indigenous over a further 70%. James, it'll ruin this area. People have had a gutful. I think what's important here is the fact that the LNP have finally spoken out and said they will fight this. But I would, as the government here in Queensland, be calling on the federal government to expedite this one, because the determination has been made once before. We've got $30 million in a pot sitting here in council at the moment. I don't want to see that money spent if we're only going to hand it over to an Indigenous mob for their exclusive use. So I think it needs to be expedited through the courts and give people here locally some breathing space to know that they can continue holidaying and using that island like I do on a regular basis.
Yeah, well, it's certainly an issue we're going to keep an eye on over the course of the next number of months. James Ashby,
Good.
Happy New Year, and thanks for joining me tonight.